Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about breakfast. We've all heard the saying, it's the most important meal of the day. We picture this ideal start, a balanced plate that fuels us for the challenges ahead. But what if I told you that some of the most common, most popular breakfast foods are secretly sabotaging your health from the moment you wake up? Today, we're diving deep into breakfast blunders, top hormone-disrupting foods. It's a topic that's incredibly important but often overlooked. We're going to uncover how certain foods, many of which are marketed as healthy or convenient, could be throwing your entire system out of whack. Your hormones are basically the chemical messengers of your body. Think of them as the managers of a massive corporation. They control everything from your mood and energy levels to your metabolism, sleep cycles, and even your reproductive health. When they're in balance, everything runs smoothly. You feel energetic, focused, and just good. But when they're disrupted, it can lead to a cascade of issues, including weight gain, fatigue, skin problems, and serious long-term health conditions. It's a delicate balance, and unfortunately, the modern diet is often the biggest culprit in upsetting it. So stick with me, because in this video, we're going to break down 5 of the worst offenders that might be sitting on your breakfast table right now. I'm not here to scare you, but to empower you with knowledge. We'll look at the science behind why these foods are problematic and what they're actually doing to your body on a chemical level. By the end, you'll be able to make more informed, mindful choices that support your hormonal health and help you feel your absolute best, starting from the very first meal of the day. Let's get into it. All right, let's start with a classic, a staple of so many childhoods, and let's be honest, many adult lives too: sugary cereals. The boxes are colorful, the characters are friendly, and they promise a great start to your day. But when you look past the marketing, what you're really getting is a bowl of highly processed grains coated in a massive amount of sugar. When you eat this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, your blood sugar skyrockets. In response, your pancreas goes into overdrive, pumping out a huge amount of insulin to try and manage this glucose flood. This isn't just a one-off event, it's a massive shock to your system. This daily insulin spike is a major problem for hormonal balance. Insulin is a critical hormone, but when it's constantly being called upon in such large amounts, your cells can start to become resistant to its effects. This is known as insulin resistance, a precursor to type 2 diabetes, and it has a domino effect on your other hormones. It can disrupt the balance of cortisol, your stress hormone, leading to increased inflammation and fat storage, especially around the abdomen. It can also interfere with your sex hormones, like estrogen and testosterone, potentially contributing to issues like PCOS in women or low testosterone in men. You think you're getting quick energy, but you're actually setting yourself up for a crash and long-term hormonal chaos. It's not just about the sugar rush and the inevitable crash that leaves you feeling tired and foggy by 10 a.m. It's about the chronic stress you're putting on your endocrine system every single morning. Your body is trying to achieve a state of balance or homeostasis, and starting your day with a sugar bomb is like throwing a wrench in the gears. The food industry has done an incredible job of packaging these products as fun and convenient, but from a physiological standpoint, it's one of the least supportive things you can do for your hormonal health. We need to reframe what a convenient breakfast looks like, shifting from processed sugar to whole nutrient-dense foods. Next up, let's talk about those classic savory breakfast items: bacon, sausage, and ham. For many, a full breakfast isn't complete without them. They're satisfying, they're flavorful, and they're packed with protein, which sounds good on paper. However, the issue isn't the meat itself, but the processing it undergoes. To preserve these products, give them their characteristic color, and prevent bacterial growth, manufacturers use additives like nitrates and nitrites. When these compounds are exposed to high heat during cooking, like frying bacon in a pan, they can form nitrosamines, which are potent chemical compounds that have been linked to a host of health problems. From a hormonal perspective, these preservatives and the byproducts they create can be incredibly disruptive. Your thyroid, the gland in your neck that regulates metabolism, is particularly sensitive. Some studies suggest that nitrates can interfere with the thyroid's ability to uptake iodine, which is an essential mineral for producing thyroid hormones. A sluggish thyroid can lead to symptoms like fatigue, weight gain, depression, and feeling cold all the time. You might blame your morning grogginess on not getting enough sleep, when it could be partially influenced by your breakfast choice putting a strain on your body's metabolic engine. Furthermore, processed meats are often loaded with sodium, unhealthy saturated fats, and other chemical preservatives that increase inflammation throughout the body. Chronic inflammation is a state of constant, low-level stress on your system, and it directly impacts your endocrine glands. It can worsen insulin resistance, which we talked about with cereal, and disrupt the production of cortisol from your adrenal glands. So while that side of bacon might seem harmless, its cumulative effect, day after day, can contribute to a pro-inflammatory state that throws your entire hormonal symphony out of tune. It's a classic example of how processing can turn a whole food into something that works against your body's natural balance. Okay, this next one might be surprising because it's often marketed as the ultimate health food flavored yogurt. You walk down the dairy aisle and you see tubs of yogurt with pictures of fresh fruit on the front, labeled low-fat or probiotic-rich. It seems like a perfect, easy breakfast. The problem is, once you flip that container over and look at the ingredients list, you often find a shocking amount of added sugar. Many fruit on the bottom or vanilla-flavored yogurts contain as much, if not more, sugar than a candy bar or a can of soda. And we already know what that kind of sugar load does to your insulin levels and hormonal health. Beyond the sugar, we have to consider the impact on gut health. Your gut is like a second brain, and it plays a massive role in hormone regulation. A healthy gut microbiome helps metabolize and eliminate excess hormones like estrogen. When you consume a lot of sugar and artificial ingredients, you feed the bad bacteria in your gut, leading to an imbalance called dysbiosis. This can impair your gut's ability to do its job properly, potentially leading to estrogen dominance and other hormonal issues. The artificial flavors, colors, and sweeteners found in many flavored yogurts can also disrupt this delicate ecosystem. Instead of supporting your gut with beneficial probiotics, you could be overwhelming it with ingredients that cause inflammation and compromise the gut lining. This is the great deception of many health foods. The marketing focuses on one positive aspect, like the presence of probiotics, while completely ignoring the detrimental effects of all the added junk. A truly healthy yogurt is plain, unsweetened, and full fat. You can then add your own whole fruit, like berries, for natural sweetness and fiber, giving you the benefits without the hormonal disruption. It's about taking back control from the food marketers and choosing the real whole food version. Now for a category that is pure comfort for many: pastries, donuts, muffins, and other baked goods. Whether it's a croissant from a coffee shop, a toaster pastry on the run, or a muffin you think is healthy because it has bran in it, these foods present a multi-pronged attack on your hormones. The first major issue is that they are made from refined carbohydrates. White flour has been stripped of its fiber and nutrients, so when you eat it, it behaves a lot like pure sugar in your body. It gets digested incredibly quickly, leading to that same dramatic blood sugar and insulin spike we've been talking about, initiating that cycle of hormonal stress. But it gets worse. To achieve that flaky, tender, or moist texture, these products are often loaded with unhealthy fats, specifically industrial trans fats or partially hydrogenated oils. While a lot of trans fats have been phased out, they still lurk in many processed baked goods. These artificial fats are highly inflammatory and have been shown to directly interfere with hormone signaling. They can worsen insulin resistance even more than sugar alone and have been linked to disruptions in reproductive hormones. You're not just getting empty calories, you're consuming man-made fats that your body doesn't know how to process correctly, causing cellular damage and inflammation. Think about the combination. You have refined flour and sugar spiking your insulin, and inflammatory fats messing with your cell receptors. This creates a perfect storm for hormonal chaos. It affects cortisol production, can lead to weight gain, especially visceral fat, which is hormonally active, and puts you on a path toward metabolic syndrome. A muffin or a donut might feel like a treat, but when it becomes a regular breakfast, it's a recipe for chronic inflammation and endocrine disruption. It's a high price to pay for a few moments of convenience and comfort. And there are far better ways to fuel your body in the morning that won't leave your hormones in disarray. Our final breakfast blunder might be controversial for some, but it's crucial to discuss non-organic dairy. A glass of milk, a slice of cheese on your eggs, or milk in your coffee seems like a normal part of breakfast. Dairy can be a great source of calcium and protein. However, the conversation gets more complex when we look at conventional non-organic dairy farming practices. In many conventional operations, dairy cows are given synthetic growth hormones, like recombinant bovine growth hormone, RBGH, to increase their milk production. Traces of these hormones, as well as naturally occurring hormones from the cow, can end up in the milk you drink. The concern is that these external hormones could potentially influence our own endocrine system. Our bodies are designed to respond to very small, precise amounts of hormones. Introducing even trace amounts from an external source could, theoretically, disrupt our own delicate balance. For example, the presence of excess estrogen-like compounds from dairy could contribute to conditions of estrogen dominance, which is linked to issues like PMS, fibroids, and an increased risk for certain cancers in both men and women. While the research is still evolving and debated, it's a factor worth considering, especially for individuals who are already sensitive or have existing hormonal imbalances. Furthermore, conventional dairy farms often use animal feed grown with pesticides and herbicides, and cows are frequently treated with antibiotics. Residues from these chemicals can also find their way into the milk. These compounds can act as endocrine disruptors in their own right, meaning they can mimic or block our natural hormones, further complicating the picture. If you choose to consume dairy, opting for organic and ideally grass-fed can be a safer bet. Organic standards prohibit the use of synthetic hormones and routine antibiotics, and require that the cow's feed is also organic. This simple switch can significantly reduce your exposure to these potentially disruptive compounds, making your morning glass of milk a much friendlier choice for your hormones. So there you have it, 5 common breakfast foods that could be quietly disrupting your hormones and holding you back from feeling your best. We've covered sugary cereals, processed meats, flavored yogurts, pastries, and non-organic dairy. The key takeaway here isn't to live in fear of food or to feel guilty about your past choices. The goal is empowerment. Now that you understand the why, the science behind how these foods impact your insulin, cortisol, thyroid, and sex hormones, you can start making small, sustainable changes. It's about being mindful and intentional with that first meal of the day. Choosing to start your morning with whole, nutrient-dense foods like eggs, avocado, plain yogurt with berries, or a smoothie with protein and healthy fats can make a world of difference. It sets a stable hormonal foundation for the rest of your day, leading to better energy, a clearer mind, and a more balanced mood. It's one of the most powerful forms of self-care you can practice. Remember, every meal is an opportunity to nourish your body and support its intricate systems. Your hormonal health is foundational to your overall well-being, so let's give it the respect and support it deserves, starting at the breakfast table. Thank you so much for watching and for investing this time in your health. If you found this information helpful, or know someone who's struggling with fatigue, weight issues, or mood swings, please share this video with them. It could be the missing piece of their puzzle. And of course, if you want to keep learning how to optimize your health with evidence-based tips, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's your go-to healthy breakfast? Let's share some ideas. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.